Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Hiss, damn it. Danger. Meow me is dangerous. Get out of the way. Sounds of gasps and anxious exclamations resounded through the communicators of every starship. However, it's of no use. He could only watch as the Brilliant's main gun tore open the Meow's energy shield and cockpit glass. I could only watch dozens of rounds of secondary battery shells, as if they were installed for positioning, flying from the hull into the hull, torn by the main cannon with extreme precision. This moment. No one has time to be horrified by Zian's miraculous fighting method. Don't talk about them. Even the supervising teacher was so frightened that the hair on his body exploded. There was no time to think about why Zian wanted to do this to Meow Xiaomi. Terrified, he rushed to rescue as fast as he could in his life. But, after all, it was a step too late. When he arrives, those dozens of secondary battery shells were already in the cockpit of the Meow Meow and exploded next to Meow Xiaomi. Secondary battery shells. Not to mention dozens of rounds. Just one shot. 830 is enough to tear Meow Xiaomi into pieces. No. Even him, if he was hit by a secondary cannon, he would definitely die. Unless you are a strong person like Zhan Wushuang or a principal. And even Zhan Wushuang. You will also suffer some injuries. Only the principal would have nothing to do with anything. The moment dozens of secondary guns exploded in Meow Xiaomi's cockpit, he had slumped down on the seat of the cab. Wushan watched. Accident. A big accident. This accident. In fact, Zian is not to blame. Because before the fight started, it's already been said. Give it your all. He acts as a teacher, didn't stop it. He didn't even apply for a more powerful teacher to come over and supervise him together. He confidently believed that with his own strength, protecting these two reconnaissance ships was not a trivial matter. Now it seems underestimated. Hugely underestimated. Far underestimated. Zian. Star Wars power. And the strength of his brilliant number. It is so powerful that it even goes far beyond the scope of a scout ship. He saw it. Zian's brilliant account. It's also level 7. But Meow Xiaomi's Meow Meow is also at level 7, both belong to the 7th level. Even though Meowth is better at agility. Not very good at defense. But that's also level 7. And it's the kind that's overall red. JA. Just one shot. Just one shot. The energy shield was blasted away by a cannon from the Brilliance, and a hole was opened in the glass of his cockpit. Here comes the most outrageous thing. The secondary battery of the Brilliance. At a miraculous angle, they all shot into the hole. Dozens of rounds. All. The front is the kind of prediction that can be called a god. Behind it is the kind of precision that can be called a miracle. Finally, combine the power of shrinkage terror. This has resulted in the current situation. This invigilator looked like he was crying and smiling at the same time. He knows. He takes full responsibility. But right now. Huh? Fook. What the hell is this? No, what the hell is this? Why does this look like the colorful crumbs in the flower spray tube used at weddings? Hiss, it's true. Look, Meow Meow is fine. The shells of this secondary gun are non-lethal ones? Phew, I thought Meow Xiaomi was dead. Ha ha ha, let me tell you, we are all classmates, how could Zian really kill him? I see, that's it, Zian Nyobi. Brilliant number Nyobi. There were exclamations and sounds of joy. The invigilator woke up from deep self-blame. It also awakened Meow, who was unwilling to accept death, but could only face death in despair. Listening to the extremely noisy voices of the students on the communicator, the invigilator looked startled. He quickly looked towards the cockpit of the Meow Meow. See you. The cockpit should have been blown into a sea of flames and turned into a mess. Except for the hole blasted out by the main cannon, there was only the sky full of colorful and festive debris. Meow cats have their ears stretched out. The snow-white cattail was tightly curled into a small circle. It showed the panic and despair she had just experienced in her heart. And at this moment, Meow Xiaomi's baby fat little face is so adorable and adorable. Full of confusion. Looking blankly at the debris in the sky, his little head went blank for a while. What happened? Where am I? Why didn't I die? What are these things? She was confused. See this scene. The invigilator was overjoyed. The voice was full of ecstasy. Ha ha ha. Zian, well done. You kid, ha 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 ha, you really scared me to death. Ha ha ha, good job. You are very good. You are really good. The invigilator, who had been through hell and heaven, was so excited that he could not speak incoherently. He was so excited and happy. Not having to take responsibility is one aspect. A more important aspect. As a teacher and a top talented student, I will not fall because of my own arrogance and mistakes. The human side. There will also be one more top talent. Maybe he will be a big boss in the future, guarding the frontier for the human race. This is what he feels most guilty about. It's good now. Not dead. It seems like this guy, Zian. It's because he knows how powerful he is. In order to avoid making mistakes, his classmates died in his hands. Therefore, the secondary battery shells were deliberately replaced with training warheads that had almost no explosives and no anti-shrapnel. Even so, there are certain dangers. At least ordinary people would basically die if they were hit by the shockwave of dozens of shell explosions within this range. But, Meow Little Meow will not. Meow Xiaomi is a 7th grade warrior. The physical fitness is much stronger than that of ordinary people. Secondly, wear a space protector. So you won't be harmed at all, this kid. It's really possible. The teacher sighed in his heart. The surrounding students were already excited. Seeing that Meowth is not dead. Suddenly, everyone understood what happened. No doubt. Zian behaves like this. It won unanimous applause and favor from all the teachers, freshmen, and old students present. Showed strength again. I didn't do anything to my classmates. And until now. They finally had time to review Zian's previous operations. Spike. A real and well-deserved instant kill. The incredible Star Wars strength, not to mention these new students. Even those old students were stunned. Everyone thought that Zian had earned his reputation in vain. Even if the shot was deflected, it should not have been to that extent. Zian proved one point to them with facts. The gap between monster-level geniuses and ordinary geniuses like them. He is worthy of being praised by the media as the unprecedented national champion. He is even more worthy of the name of the brilliant evildoer. Look at Meow Meow Meow. Her pupils finally came into focus. Then she realized what was happening. Debris is still flying and falling all over the sky, and pieces of it are falling like colorful snow. Meowth was silent. Sudden. Her big eyes narrowed slightly, her eyes locked on one of the 10 falling notes. He even drew a smiling face. A smiling face like a kitten. Meow Xiaomi suddenly laughed out loud. He quickly restrained himself. A pair of eyes looked deeply towards Su Liaoan. His nose was still full of arrogance, and he hummed, "This time, you win. However, I will continue to challenge your 4.9 in the future. It's a normal challenge. I, Meow Meow, will definitely defeat you." Listening to Meowth's declaration full of fighting spirit, Zian smiled, and a leisurely voice came from the communicator, "Okay. I'm always waiting for you." The corner of Meow Xiaomi's mouth raised a beautiful arc, but quickly restrained it again. Snort. "I'm leaving." Drop this sentence. Driving her Meow Meow, she left proudly, Lost. Just lose. She was neither discouraged nor depressed. She only has one idea now, defeat Zian. Defeat this man. You must defeat him in this life. I have been competing with him my whole life. I don't believe it. I am Xiaomi, the strongest group in the cat-human race. No match for the genius of the human race. But it is precisely because there are such top super geniuses in the human race. Such an institution. It's more interesting. She suddenly looked forward to her future life. It will be fun, right? Classmate Zian, I also want to challenge you. A neutral voice seemed particularly abrupt among the congratulations. The various exclamations and congratulations just now were all in vain. The classmates were all stunned. Whose general is this? How could he be so brave? After seeing Zian's Star Wars level just now, he still had the courage to challenge an Sky. Anyway, the other students just thought about it and killed the idea in an instant. Challenge? Give me a break. Although we are geniuses. But he is a super genius who surpasses the top geniuses. It's not the same level at all, okay? Many people even fantasize about how they would respond if they were the ones who just fought against Zian. They found out. No chance of winning. Too strong. Unless it's close to Zian? With the accuracy of a cannonball like Zian's, can it still get you closer? The supervising teacher was very surprised. Zian. Also unexpected. But this is a good thing. Another good person gives me a gift. I can't refuse it, I absolutely can't refuse it, he immediately said cheerfully, okay. I'm fine. Then tell me about your challenge chips first. Zian asked straight to the point. Party 02 was quiet for a moment. After a while, he hesitated and said, well, I still have more than 300,000 yuan in my account. Otherwise, I'll mortgage myself. I win, and those things of yours belong to me. If you win, I will hang out with you from now on. Zian wondered if there was something wrong with his ears. Where did this man of God come from? He didn't need to speak, those classmates have already spoken for Zian. No, this buddy, do you think it's okay? Yes, brother, if everyone is like you, then Zian will accept challenges every day from now on, and don't practice. That's right, buddy, stop making trouble. These classmates rejected Zian's offer first. Zian was also dumbfounded. And this man seemed a little discouraged. Okay, if you don't want to challenge, then you won't challenge. But I will work hard to make money. I will still challenge you when the time comes, Shwazi. That's not right. I don't have to challenge your treatment. I challenge your current ranking on the freshman list. I don't need to use my chips for this. Yes, this is good. Zian, wait for me. After I get to the top 10 in the freshman list, I will definitely challenge you. Finally, who is your buddy? I am a woman. I am from the Titan tribe, and my voice is not as nice as your human girl, but I am also a woman. This last sentence comes from her last stubbornness. Zian smiled and said, okay, then I'll wait for you. But forget it today, I have something else to do, so I'll take the first step. Finished. Activate the brilliance and turn it into a stream of light, flying towards the direction of Brilliance Island. As for Zian's name, the freshman deserved to be number 1. It spread throughout the school in an instant. Especially the video of his fight. It was pinned to the top of the school forum, attracting all the new students and many old students to watch it. Zian returned to Bright Island. Then I saw a small unmanned express box floating at the door. No need to think. This must be his trophy. Opening it, it turns out that there is a palm-sized cat star stone inside. This thing is worth 500 million. And don't look at it, it's only about the size of a palm. In fact, because of its characteristics, it only takes a small amount to increase the rigidity of the entire cruiser. An absolute treasure. Unfortunately, this thing, the system does not increase the wealth value. But it doesn't matter. And speaking of this natural treasure, Zian suddenly remembered the day I just checked into Bright Island. It seems that he bought a full 700 points of heavenly materials and earthly treasures used to temper his body. During this time, I was either busy obtaining evolution points or busy evolving starships. But it was forgotten. But now that I have enough time, it is just right to try the treasures of heaven and earth to temper my body. The physical body is Zian's biggest weakness. And after tempering with the treasures of heaven and earth, it will become stronger in the future. Maybe a cannon fired on him might not even kill him. He immediately picked up the things and pointed towards Jing. Looking at the cat star stone in his hand, Zian thought, it is necessary to build a special vault for yourself. He doesn't want these good things to be lost or stolen. It's not impossible to put it on the brilliant. It's okay even if my own people are not by the side of the brilliant. Biological starship, the reason why it is a biological starship. It's that spiritual connection with the biological captain. And this spiritual connection will not be limited by distance. For example, Zian is now on Earth in the Milky Way. Then the brilliant was placed on the lodging star. Assume that the lodging star is suddenly attacked at this time. Then the star crystal optical brain on the brilliant will instantly analyze the situation, and the situation here will be passed on to Zian. And Zian, who is far away in the Milky Way, can also receive this transmitted message at the same time, and directly control the brilliant to escape or fight with his mind. This is also one of the main functions of the red excellent quality Shenyan series star crystal light brain. It is the horror that belongs to the biological starship. Of course, pure mind control is definitely not as good as using mind control when I am driving a starship. All aspects of combat flexibility and so on are much worse. It is basically impossible for anyone to remotely control the starship to fight. At most, it will only be controlled to escape and the like. But also enough. This is the huge difference between biological starships and mechanical starships. The vault thing. Let's talk about it later. Now let's go and see those natural treasures first. Such things as natural materials and earthly treasures. Zian must have been placed in the warehouse in the villa. When I came to the warehouse, I found a place to put the cat star stone. He took down all the treasures of heaven, material, and earth. Because of the expensiveness of heaven, material, and earth treasures. Even with 700 points, Zian only bought two types. One is a plant called Manhwa, and the other is a plant called steel grass. This kind of natural and earthly treasure that strengthens the body and enhances biological energy. Most of them come from plants. Only very few are non-plant items. Stargazers look similar to sunflowers. Hyene. It stems from the extremely fragile vitality, even in the interstellar era. This kind of thing is extremely difficult to artificially cultivate. Even if it is artificially cultivated, it is the kind with a small number and a very high cost. Actually, almost all natural treasures. They are difficult to cultivate artificially. After all, if it can be artificially cultivated on a large scale, that's not a natural treasure, is it? It is something that every household can eat as a dish. The steelbone grass grows rather strangely. Section by section, like bones. In addition, its efficacy is indeed able to strengthen the strength of human bones, hence the name. Just like drinking milk will supplement calcium, and calcium supplement will strengthen bones. These things. Today, it can already be explained by science. If it were placed in the ancient earth hundreds of thousands of years ago, it might be regarded as fairy grass or something? Well, probably. Since buying these items, Zian hasn't opened them yet. These two treasures of heaven, material, and earth, among them Manhwa, are worth 400 points. Steel frame 117 grass is slightly cheaper, worth 300 points. All packed in alloy crisper boxes. Excitedly opened one of the boxes. The target is a round plant that is still fresh and has flowers that look like sunflowers. Unattainable. Although humans cannot do large-scale artificial cultivation, small-scale artificial cultivation is possible, but the cost is too high. However, there is no problem with how to ensure the freshness of unattainable. Let's put it that way. The stargazing flower in his hand is still in the state of being dug out of the soil. Even though its vitality is extremely fragile, it is still no problem to use this alloy CRISPR to ensure that its life is fixed at the moment it is dug out. That is to say, this stargazing flower is actually still alive. It's just that the living is the living, and planting is impossible. Thinking so, Zian curiously reached out and took it out of the box. I want to study how to use this thing. However, the moment my fingers touched this stargazing flower, unattainable detected. New features of the system are enabled. May I ask if the host consumes wealth points for planting? May I ask whether the quality consumes the wealth value and accelerates the absorption and quenching without impurities? Insight. 4 lines of words popped up suddenly. 2 of the lines are different options. An option. You can choose whether to consume wealth points for planting. Another option. It can consume wealth points, speed up absorption, and temper the body. And it's still impurity-free. Zian was just stunned for a moment. Next second, my heart was filled with great ecstasy. New system functions are enabled. This was something Zian didn't expect. Unexpectedly, the system can actually open new functions. Does that mean, in the future, does the system have more functions to provide for self-excavation? I just don't know what the trigger conditions for those functions are. Not to mention far away. Just say that the new functions developed this time definitely make Zian overjoyed. Let's talk about the second one first, accelerated absorption and quenching without impurities. As we all know, heaven, material and earth treasures cannot be absorbed and used without limit. Because these plants do contain special substances, it is true. However, at least 90% are impurities. These impurities will greatly affect the frequency and speed of absorbing heaven, material and earth treasures. Also, the absorption process will be very slow. Just like drinking milk. If you drink milk to supplement calcium, it is impossible to supplement it for you just after drinking it. There must be a slow absorption and gradual process. The same is true for unattainable. The materials in unattainable are also too fragile. It can't be extracted at all. It can only be absorbed by eating the whole plant. It can't even be cooked and eaten. Cooking and eating will greatly affect its effect and cause large volatilization of substances. Just like fruit, if the heating temperature is too high, the vitamins in it will be destroyed. A truth. But with this new feature of the system, none of this is a problem. Impurities can be eliminated directly without the need for constant exercise, and combined with bioenergy, the impurities can be slowly discharged. You only need to consume wealth points to achieve no impurities. It can also speed up the absorption and speed up the effect of tempering the body. Definitely a god-level feature. Then there is the feature that makes Zian feel most delighted. Plant. The difficulty of planting natural materials and earthly treasures has troubled scientists all over the universe. They can be planted and cultivated, but the cost is prohibitively high. The treasures of heaven, material and earth that have been discovered now. Basically, let it maintain its original ecological growth and eliminate all factors. For example, on a certain planet, an extremely precious treasure was discovered. And only the soil quality, environment, and even air of that planet can grow. Then, the Universal Human Race Federation will directly launch the protection plan for the treasures of heaven, materials, and earth. If there are people living on that planet, immediately there will be a mass migration across the planet. Settled to another planet. If that planet has many earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, and other natural disasters, then the human race will directly use technology to suppress all these natural disasters. While ensuring the most primitive living environment of Tian Kai Dibao, we should do everything possible to block out all possibilities that would lead to the extinction of Tian Kai Dibao. Of course, there are still a large number of scientists who have been studying the possibility of artificial cultivation of natural materials and earthly treasures. In fact, there are already some not-so-high-end natural materials and treasures that are being artificially cultivated on a large scale. The slightly better treasures of heaven and earth, the more fragile their vitality is. At least, Zian spent 700 points to buy star flower and steel grass. Small-scale cultivation at extremely high cost was fine, but large-scale cultivation was out of the question. The cost is outrageously high. But there is a system. This situation will never happen again. Zian has just studied the new planting function of Tian Kai Dibao. The consumption of wealth value. Mainly to protect its vitality from being so fragile. Secondly, it is to speed up sleep. As long as the environment is not particularly bad, or it is not directly burned by a fire, then basically we can carry out large-scale cultivation. This large scale is only a large scale for Zian personally. I dare not say more. Zian feels confident in cultivating enough natural materials and treasures for his long-term uninterrupted use. Even if there is more, maybe it can be turned around and sold. Of course, it is still too far away to sell it. Now you should think about how to grow it. Study the new functions of the system again. After confirming the cultivation method, although the wealth value is consumed a lot, it is a little painful. But fortunately, it is still within the range of my own tolerance. That being the case, Zian's eyes were bright and he immediately placed the star flower again. Then pick up the optical brain watch. Look it up directly in the school's research department, searched for a moment. Soon what I needed appeared. Plant cultivation room. The plant cultivation room is dedicated to cultivating natural treasures. In school, those who study botany almost have one or even several plant cultivation rooms. Now Zian is looking for senior students in the engineering department, and asks them to immediately build 2 ultra-small plant cultivation rooms for themselves. This ultra-small plant cultivation room has an actual planting area of 5 by 5, which is a planting area of 25 square meters. Like stargazing and steel bone grass, 1 square, you can plant 1 plant. What's more, when the scale of cultivation expands in the future, this kind of cultivation room supports the expansion function. When the time is small, the same is true for further expansion. The ultra-small plant cultivation room costs 1,200 points in total. Mainly automated drone planting supervision equipment, automated temperature-controlled photosynthesis equipment, and a series of nutrient solutions and organic soil are expensive. Spend these 1,200 points. In Zian's hand, he had 5,000 points, and only 1,200 points were left. Small evolution factory, 1,900 points. Stargazer and skeletal grass, 700 points. Now this ultra-small plant cultivation room, 1,200 points. There are 1,200 left. Zian didn't dare to spend money casually anymore. Because in the process of planting and cultivation, even if there is a systematic wealth value, it still needs nutrient solution. Wealth value is just to ensure that Tian Kai Dibao is not so easy to die, and to ensure that it grows faster after absorbing the nutrient solution. It's not that the wealth value is to provide nutrition for the growth of natural materials and earth treasures. It's not the same thing at all. The research department moved quickly. After all, Zian is a big client. I just spent 1,900 points to buy a small evolution factory. Now I spent another 1,200 points to buy a super small plant cultivation room. Big client, definitely a big client. Of course they can understand the evolution factory. But he is an evolutionist. What is he planning to do when he buys a plant cultivation room? The group of people in the research department looked at each other in blank dismay. Could it be too many points to spend? Or, are you going to triple develop Star Wars, evolution, and research? But they don't want to care about these. I wish Zian was a prodigal. One by one, they finished the things cheerfully and sent them to Bright Island. See Zian again. This group of seniors and seniors is called a passion. It's like seeing your parents. Before and after school. There were even a few old students in the research department who were really poor and frightened, and shamelessly shouted, "Brother Sue," in order to continue to earn more points from Zian in the future. It can be regarded as going all out. In fact, Zian didn't know what they were thinking. Of course he doesn't explain these things. Evolutionary, Star Wars, these talent exposure is no problem. But things like natural materials and earthly treasures, he wasn't going to tell anyone. This kind of thing, after all, can't be explained clearly. That is something that countless scientists have not solved. How can you break through? Okay, even if you have a talent for research. But let's just say, at least make sense. So, it is impossible to be exposed. It is right to make a fortune in silence. Even this ultra-small plant cultivation room is only used at this stage. Wait for the future. He plans to set up a plant cultivation room that is very hidden and has a super high security level, specialized in breeding that really good stuff. Now, just go ahead. In that case, does the island's anti-aircraft battery also need to be set up? Zian stroked his chin and thought, after all, I have a lot of good things now. Cat Star Stone, as well as the cultivation of heaven, material and earth treasures. Hesitated for a moment. Decided to go back for a while. Talk about it later. Maybe one day I directly buy a planet. Wouldn't it be better to open directly on it? Ultra-small plant cultivation room, because it is also a modular installation, so it won't take long. The rectangular, fully enclosed, modular ultra-small plant cultivation room, composed of small square houses, is completed. Wait until they leave. Zian immediately turned on the energy shield of Bright Island to the maximum power. Only then did he bring stargazing flower and steel bone grass. Walked into the cultivation room. Ryu. Enter the breeding room. Inside is the light emitted by the radio energy of the star control system. Yes. In this day and age. It is also called the sun. It has long been exploited by humans to the extreme. There is no such thing as wires and so on in the house anymore. Household appliances, etc. All radio powered by stellar control system. This is real radio. Wireless charging is the most primitive version of this radio. As long as there are stars within the solar system, then you no longer need to worry about the power outage of your home appliances, etc. Everything in the nursery. All using this radio. As soon as you enter, the soft, white light with ultraviolet light illuminates the entire interior, clearly. Don't ask Zian why the white light contains ultraviolet rays. He is not a student in the research department and does not understand literary things. Only know. This kind of light is actually equivalent to the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Lighting is just the most basic function. Plants can produce photosynthesis and grow under this kind of light illumination. At the same time, every incubator. Because this is assembled from a square box structure. Therefore, a single one is called an incubator. Zian's one is 5 times 5, one is exactly 1 square meter. In other words, this ultra-small vegetation cultivation room is composed of 25 cultivation boxes. Each incubator comes with a drone. This drone will take care of the vegetation in the box by itself. Gas curtain technology can also be used, and the temperature and humidity in each box may even be different. 053, maybe the box on the left has a cold environment, and the box on the right has a hot environment. Each is different. The convenience brought by technology is really great. It can also automatically spread nutrient solution and adjust it automatically according to the growth of vegetation. But this only works on ordinary plants. The treasures of heaven, materials, and earth are too fragile to work. As long as the wealth value is maintained, Zian believes that there will be no problem. I looked around and confirmed that there was no problem. The soil in the 25 boxes is all prepared organic soil. The nutrient solution is also full, and all other conditions are good. He immediately returned to the warehouse of the villa and brought over the star flower and steel bone grass. Zian has always been a person who does what he says. Now that I have decided to try the planting and cultivation of Tian Kai Dibao, then there will be no hesitation. Even if you fail, it doesn't matter. It's always worth trying. But he believes that the problem shouldn't be big. Soon he returned to the breeding room with 2 natural treasures. I directly selected the 2 boxes of soil on the far left. Before planting, Zian first searched for the growth environment of starflower and steelgrass. The first is the stargazing flower, results displayed from the optical brain watch. Starflower humidity, temperature, etc. are all displayed. Zian directly transferred the data to the control system of this box. Immediately, the box started functioning immediately. Humidity, ACF, temperature, soil condition, UV intensity, etc., all begin to change. In just a few minutes, the results displayed on the virtual panel showed that this environment had reached the growth requirements of starflower. Zian chose to prepare for planting. Immediately, the disc-like drone on the top of the box began to work. First, 2 long robotic arms went deep and began to excavate the soil at the most professional and precise angle. After digging into the data showing the tightness of the soil for planting star flowers, we stopped. Zian carefully placed the rhizome of the star flower into the hole in the soil. After automatically detecting the plants, the drone immediately begins to populate them. Then a soft beam of light began to scan the plants. Soon, the data of Manhwa and its current status were displayed. Plant name, starflower. Plant grade, first grade. Plant effect, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human organs. Plant status, weak vitality. Plant age, 3 years, maturity period. Finished reading. Zian knew that he had something special. It turns out this thing. It has a built-in scanning function, and can automatically adjust the growing environment according to the plants being planted. I was stupid enough to search on the optical computer and then type it in. But it's not his fault. Never planted it, never used it, who knows? In this case, that's easy. Follow the same rules. This time, the sports selection directly next to it is ready for planting. After the drone dug a hole, Zian put it in. The scan results came out soon. And the environment, temperature, humidity, etc., start to automatically adjust. The temperature and humidity of the steel bone grass are higher and drier than those of the stargazing. Plant name, steel bone grass. Plant grade, first grade. Plant function, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human bones. Plant status, weak vitality. Plant age, 5 years, mature period. After reading the status of Manhwa and skeleton grass, Zian took the lead in looking at the star flower, and chose to consume evolution points to plant it. The next second, I saw Manhwa's whole body flashing with light. On the surface, nothing seems to come out. But scan the data of Manhwa on the box next to it. In the column of the state and the column of the age of the plant, there has been a change. Plant name, starflower. Plant grade, first grade. Plant effect, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human organs. Plant state, strong vitality, supplement nutrition. Plant age, 3 years, in rapid growth. See here. Zian let out a long breath. A rich smile appeared on his face. Just. A total of 10 wealth points were consumed. The original vitality was weak, but now it is vigorous. And it's still growing fast. The reason why Tian Kai Dibao is Tian Kai Dibao. Its growth period is also higher than the upper limit of ordinary plants. To put it bluntly, it is the same as the ginseng on the earth. Ginseng, the longer the age, the better. Speaking of ginseng, I must mention. Ginseng is now the star of heaven, material, and earth treasures. The purpose is to increase bioenergy. The grade is not low, reaching the 5th grade. Now a 10-year-old ginseng has even been auctioned for tens of billions of dollars in the universe. And it's still priceless. And ginseng can only grow on the earth. A unique plant belonging to the earth. More importantly, it has to be the kind of wild ginseng that is a natural treasure. The artificially cultivated ginseng, cultivated by the human race, has no such effect at all. Only wild ginseng is the real natural treasure. So now on the earth, there are some deep mountains and old forests, as well as places like the Kunlun Mountains and Changbai Mountains. All are classified as no-entry areas. There are a large number of federal troops guarding. Maintain the largest original growth environment. After so many years, there are indeed a lot more wild ginseng, all over the mountains and plains. But how big the universe is? Too many people need it. This point. It's not enough to put a gap between the teeth. Seeing that Wang Xinghua's vitality has recovered vigorously, Zian was quite happy in his heart. At the moment, another 10 wealth points were consumed. The vitality of the steel bone grass next to it was also increased. Sure enough, it has also become vigorous and in dire need of nourishment. The drone immediately began to sprinkle the nutrient solution, slowly like a shower. The font of urgent need to supplement nutrition also gradually faded until it disappeared. Only a few fonts in, rapidly growing, still exist. Seeing Zian grinning straight. In fact, these two plants are natural treasures. Just an attempt by Zian. If it is possible, the planting volume will be increased later. Now it seems completely fine. But just to be on the safe side, he decided to observe the growth in the past few days. Waited a while longer. After confirming that there will be no problems for the time being, only then did Zian leave the plant cultivation room. In fact, he was too worried. Because any bad situation happens to the plant, the optical computer in the plant cultivation room will automatically remind Zian on the optical computer watch bound to him. There is no need for Zian to worry too much. He has to do it. Just use the wealth value to stabilize the vitality of these plants. That's all. Everything. Just wait until tomorrow to see how it grows. All night, Zian didn't fall asleep much. The mind is full of plant cultivation. I got up at 5 o'clock the next day, and after a hasty wash, I came to the cultivation room. I don't know if it's an illusion. View from the door of the breeding room. I feel these two plants. Seems like he's grown up a bit. In addition, the drones in the cultivation room are still continuously spraying the nutrient solution. Is it a coincidence that I came here at the right time, or is it because the nutrient solution has never been stopped? With this doubt, Zian looked towards the main control system panel at the door. The rest are normal. Only the nutrient solution, only Qitian's left. Zian was secretly speechless. It seems that I guessed right. This nutrient solution has never stopped at all. These nutrient solutions are packed together, a total of 500 liters. Normally, it is enough for 25 boxes of plants to add up to 1 year. Now it seems that MO will not take a few days. Fortunately, this thing is not very expensive, only 1 point for 100 liters. A better nutrient solution is more expensive. For now, I can afford it completely. Go over and check the original information. Zian was shocked immediately. Plant name, starflower. Plant grade, 1st grade. Plant effect, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human organs. Plant state, vigorous vitality. Plant age, 4 years, in rapid growth. I watched it yesterday. The plant life is only 3 years. Today becomes 4 years. Directly increased growth for a year. Doesn't that mean? If you increase the 1 year limit every day, The 10-year limit will soon be reached, then become the second grade? Zian gasped. Originally thought that the wealth value could only be blamed for maintaining its vitality, so that it would not die so easily. Now it seems I still underestimated the role of wealth. Suddenly, Zian's heart was filled with regret. It is a pity that this kind of plant cultivation must not be known to outsiders. Otherwise, just by selling these natural treasures, I may become a super rich man. The value of wealth is inexhaustible. Pity, pity. Star Wars talent and evolutionist talent can be explained. But once the speed of plant cultivation is known to the outside world, it is impossible to explain it at all. But it's okay. Although it is a pity that it cannot be sold. But so it seems. From now on, I am afraid that there will never be any shortage of natural materials and earthly treasures. Look at the steel bone grass again. Also the same. From yesterday's 5-year limit, it has become today's 6th army. Go down at this speed. A few more days. Sure enough, it will be 10 years. After a long time of silly fun in the cultivation room, Zian left reluctantly. Nor can he stay in the breeding room all the time. There is no need to rush the starship evolution now, because it will take a lot of days for the creature to reach the full state of the 7th rank fighter. The full value of the 7th rank is 550 bioenergy. Now I increase my biological energy by 5 points every day, because it will probably take 20 days to get the value. Zian plans to then consider the evolutionary value. Now is the time these days. He is ready to learn, then take good care of these natural treasures. Immediately. Take a look at the course. There is a Star Wars course, and the class will start in half an hour. Immediately without further delay. After driving on the Audi Star Shuttle, he flew towards the Star Wars planet. Have to say, there are really many Star Wars people. This course focuses on how to evade in Star Wars and how to use the surrounding environment to evade. Still full of people. Many people simply stood at the back of the classroom because they couldn't sit down. When Zian arrives, the whole classroom is full, not to mention the seats. There is not even room for people to stand at the back of the classroom. Zian was helpless. Is it so embarrassing to come to the classroom for the first time? What's the matter? Is it possible to let myself and the teacher stand on the podium and listen to the class together? If I am not embarrassed, then the teacher is not comfortable either. Just when Zian was thinking about standing outside the classroom and listening to the class, there was a sudden silence in the noisy classroom, and they all looked at Zian. Huh? Zian? Zian also came to our department? Ha ha ha, there is no place. Come on, classmate Sue, there is a place next to me, let me squeeze you in. Zian is supposed to come to the classroom for the first time after enrolling, right? I don't know that it's normal that we need to grab seats in advance for the courses of our Star Wars department. Zian, come to me, there is still one on my window. You can't sit on my shoulder. Zian couldn't laugh or cry. The goddamn is lying on the window, the most outrageous thing is sitting on the shoulder of the F***K. Can you imagine a man sitting on another man's shoulders? Anyway, if Zian is killed, don't sit still. No, I'll be right at the door. Zian smiled and responded. Knew it. Strong, and the students are super enthusiastic. So, people really need to get stronger. Because only strong. Only then will you discover how beautiful the world is, and how friendly the people in this world are. Even if you just run to the vegetable market to catch crabs from the tank, there will be people around you applauding wildly. Sit here with me. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded, and the classroom fell silent for a moment. The students looked in astonishment. But it was not others who spoke. It was Meow Xiaomi. Zian also blinked curiously. Is this woman there? See Zian look over. Meow Xiaomi squeezed against the female classmate next to her. On the side of the corridor, Zian was left with a space that could almost be used for people to sit. Then she turned her head away arrogantly, and snorted softly in her nose. Zian smiled and walked over calmly. Then sit down directly beside ManhwaRecap, and the moment Zian sat down, he could even feel the slight trembling of ManhwaRecap's delicate body beside him. Her snow-white cat ears. It seems to be slightly reddish. The classmates in the classroom were all stunned, looking at ManhwaRecap in disbelief. Obviously, I can't believe that ManhwaRecap would take the initiative to let a boy sit next to her. To know. Before, there was a male student who really couldn't find a place, so he wanted to stand next to ManhwaRecap and listen to the class. In the end, just wanting to stand next to ManhwaRecap, she was closely watched by ManhwaRecap. The grinning appearance scared the male student to jump to the window, away from ManhwaRecap. Have no idea. Afraid. ManhwaRecap lost to Zian yesterday. But there is one thing to say. ManhwaRecap is definitely a real powerhouse. In the first 6 days of the freshman list, she knocked countless people to pieces, beat countless people out of temper. Even those students who also own Tier 7 starships were still defeated. 0. Not only that. At the beginning, there was a classmate with the strength of a 7th-rank fighter who challenged ManhwaRecap. The results of it? As a result, the other party didn't even touch the corner of ManhwaRecap's clothes. He was beaten and bruised all over by ManhwaRecap with a special set with sharp metal claws. In the end, the metal claws even directly touched the opponent's throat. There is also blood in the throat, and it is red. That classmate was so scared that he lost control of his urine and feces. Since then, no one who is not open-eyed dares to provoke the switch again. Even within a range of 3 meters around her, no one of the opposite sex would dare to approach her. But now, offer to give up a seat for Zian. It can be said that a group of classmates were dumbfounded. Then one by one looked at Zian with great admiration. And it has to be Zian. Look, even this female devil is convinced. Zian didn't think that much. Of course, there is no reason not to give up a seat for yourself. There is a faint, strange fragrance lingering at the tip of the nose. I don't know if ManhwaRecap sprayed on perfume or pure deodorant. Anyway, it smells very nice. After sitting down, Zian didn't talk to ManhwaRecap either. He turned on the optical brain watch on his own. Called out the textbooks that need to be studied in this class. Wait for the teacher to arrive. Beside. The tsundere ManhwaRecap was actually very nervous. Snow-white palms were slightly sweaty. In fact, she didn't understand either. I don't understand how I could have acted like that just now. Anyway, seeing Zian standing alone at the door, he subconsciously called Zian to sit down. Now think about it, let alone use those classmates. Even she herself felt incredible. But the words have been said. Zian has also sat down. I can only pretend that I don't care. But that baby fat, cute face that exploded. But it is red. Like an overripe apple. It adds a cuteness and beauty. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. The teacher who is teaching today. It is a female teacher, with a slender figure and not very tall. But if you think you can bully people, that can only be said. Let's be more careful in the next life. This female teacher is the Dean of the Department of Culture. A majestic battleship captain. A real warrior king-level warrior. This is the foundation of Shenzhou Academy. Even the Dean of the Culture Department is a strong man at the level of a battleship captain. And she seems to have extremely unique insights into how to avoid enemy ship attacks and how to keep yourself safe in Star Wars. The content described is easy to understand, and very profound knowledge points can be expressed in a simple and profound way. Zian was fascinated by what he heard. It's like a shriveled sponge, frantically absorbing this knowledge and turning it into your own. Beside, ManhwaRecap kept staring at Zian curiously from the corner of her eyes. She didn't put much of her mind on the classroom, seeing that Zian hadn't said a single word to him since he sat down. I have been listening to the lecture seriously. Miao Xiaomi's inner curiosity became more and more intense. Like thinking of something. Suddenly asked, "Are you still a first-grade evolutionist?" Zian nodded without looking back, "Yeah." Miao Xiaomi's big eyes narrowed, "Then, my starship will evolve in the future. Can I treat you as the Zero-Wife King?" Zian then turned to look at her and grinned, "Of course. You pay." "No, you just pay the points." Meowth puckered his lips. This person. How do you feel like a miser? But he also nodded and said, "That's for sure, but let me say it first. If you evolve poorly, for me, I won't let you go." Zian immediately patted his chest and assured, "Don't worry about that. As long as the evolution of the scout ship level does not exceed the red excellent quality, I have no problem. We might even be able to sign a contract by then. If something goes wrong during evolution, I will compensate you tenfold." Hearing that Zian's tone was so confident, Miao Xiaomi was also surprised, especially what Zian said, "There is no problem with red's excellent quality?" Miao Xiaomi always feels a bit unreal. The excellent quality of red. Even third-grade evolutionists cannot guarantee that the excellent quality of red can be guaranteed when evolving a reconnaissance ship. How did he have this confidence? Although I don't understand. But Miao Miao was too lazy to think too much. Since Zian has said it, he will be compensated twice as much if he loses. Then she wouldn't be so worried. Later, seeing that Zian had no interest in continuing to talk, he turned all his attention to studying. Miao Xiaomi couldn't help but pursed her mouth again, snorted in her little nose, turned her head away with a proud face, and stopped talking to Zian. Zian glanced at Miao Xiaomi with an inexplicable expression. Could it be that this woman has a disease? Baffling. Too lazy to care about her. Keep learning. The next few days. Zian, in addition to exercising after converting the daily necessary wealth value into bioenergy, it is to take good care of the two big treasures, Wang Xinghua and steel bone grass. Then it was time to go to school to study. Every time I learn new content and knowledge, they will all enter the Star Wars simulation with great interest, apply the knowledge they have learned, and completely integrate it into themselves. His Star Wars prowess. Based on the already terrifying foundation, it continued to soar. Besides, an essential evolution simulation every day. If you don't understand, and the master is not free, just leave a message. If it is really urgent, I will directly ask my brothers and sisters. The 5 of them formed a newsletter group. I usually chat when I have nothing to do. If there is something Zian doesn't understand, just ask. As long as anyone is free, he will answer it as soon as possible. As a result, although Zian is a student of the evolutionary department, he has never taken a course in the evolutionary department. But the evolutionary strength is advancing by leaps and bounds every day. Just yesterday, he can even evolve a pink perfect quality main gun. Although there are still some shortcomings, because it can be more perfect. But this is already a huge improvement. I believe that when he reaches the 10th tier reconnaissance ship level, he needs to evolve into a frigate. Let's not talk about evolving all the brilliant numbers to the perfect pink quality, but at least some of the more important parts. Zian thinks there is no problem. And today, Zian didn't go anywhere. Because Steelgrass, the first to reach the 10th year. However, 10 years later, Zian found that he had to assign wealth values again. Because after this year, the vitality of the steel bone grass began to weaken again, and it was no longer in a vigorous state. And most importantly, Steelgrass. It has been transformed from a first-grade treasure of heaven and earth. It has become a second-grade product. Plant name, steel bone grass. Plant grade, second grade. Plant function, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human bones. Plant status, vitality is weakening. Plant age, 10 years, can be planted. The second grade steel bone grass and the first grade steel bone grass are not the same price at all. A first grade steel plant costs 300 points. But the steel bone grass of the second grade is a full 900 points per plant. Take it out and sell it, and it is absolutely no problem to sell it for 15 to 6 million. But the school prohibits students from exchanging points for things in the school and then selling them. Anyone who finds out will be severely punished. The points will be cleared. If it is serious, it will be recovered directly, and then the student will be expelled. Quite serious. Anyway, after so many years, Shenzhou University found that not many students exchanged points for things and then sold them. Reached the second level. The vitality changed from exuberant to weak. Zian looked at it. If you want to keep its vitality this time, you will need a full 100 wealth points. Besides, what surprises Zian the most is undoubtedly that the steel grass is ready for planting. The meaning of seeding is that the fruits that grow can be used as new seeds to plant. At this time, a thumb-sized fruit has grown on the tip of the steel bone grass. Inside this fruit, there are more than 10 seeds. For planting. Now, there is no need to spend points to buy new steel grass to plant. Self-sufficiency is completely sufficient. As for Wang Xinghua, it is currently 8 years old. The vitality is still in a state of exuberance. But come to think of it, it's 10 years. That is 2 days later. Presumably it will be the same as the steel bone grass. Zian thought for a moment. Decided to go ahead and try to get the skeletal grass to grow. See what it can finally grow to. Then its seeds can be reseeded. The regrown steel bone grass can be used by yourself. No more hesitation immediately. 100 wealth points were spent. The steel bone grass flashed with light. The data scanned by the incubator really changed. The drone also sprinkled the nutrient solution again. Plant name, steel bone grass. Plant grade, second grade. Plant function, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human bones. Plant status, strong vitality and an urgent need of nutritional supplements. Plant lifespan, 10 years, in rapid growth, can be planted. See here. Zian breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that my guess is not wrong. Just don't know. Does the current steel bone grass still grow in a day for a year? I don't know if it grows in a day or a year, but now Zian's brows are wrinkled. Because he found out. A large amount of nutrient solution was sprinkled, but the information displayed by the steel bone grass still urgently needs to be supplemented with nutrition. This time, need to supplement nutrients urgently. The big characters faded very, very slowly. Zian frowned. He gets it. I.e. this most common nutrient solution. I'm afraid there won't be enough. Not much to say. I turned on the optical brain watch, and then researched the department, and found the intermediate nutrient solution. I chose the 500-liter one and spent a total of 25 points. The primary nutrient solution is the nutrient solution currently used. 100 liters price is only 1 point. Intermediate nutrient solution, price $100 per minute. It's not particularly expensive, but it's not cheap either. After all, there are only 50 points in total for new students to enroll. After purchasing 500 liters of intermediate nutrient solution, Zian directly placed an order for a full 2,500 liters of primary bud nutrient solution. The primary nutrient solution, after the steel bone grass is sown, and the acquired star flower is sown. There will be a lot of need. Now I just need to collect 50 points of nutrient solution. The nutrient solution was quickly delivered by courier drone. The express delivery drone directly installed the alloy barrel of the nutrient solution to the nutrient solution injection port outside the ultra-small plant cultivation room. The ultra-small plant cultivation room can be equipped with a variety of different nutrient solutions. Then when the drone sprinkles the nutrient solution, it will automatically select the primary or intermediate nutrient solution according to the current state of the plant. It will not cause waste. Really? After the drone was replaced with intermediate nutrient solution. Supplementary nutrition is urgently needed. A few large characters began to disappear quickly. Zian was also relieved. Immediately, the sowing command of steel bone grass was input to the main control panel of room 4.9 of ultrasmall plant cultivation. Choose 12 for the quantity. Immediately, the drones and other boxes were dispatched, and the ultra-mini robotic arm scanned it. Immediately lock the flower bud on the top of the steel bone grass, and carefully peel off the seeds in it. Afterwards, one by one, they were neatly planted in 12 boxes. Plant name, steel bone grass. Plant grade, no product. Plant function, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human bones. Plant status, weak vitality. Plant age, 0 year, sowing period. Zian took a look. Each steel grass seed also requires 10 wealth points. Not long-winded. Apply wealth value to them all one by one. 120 wealth value. Consume again. And these 12 steel grass seeds. But it is also growing rapidly. #SA. Breaking the ground and sprouting are all visible to the naked eye. Not surprisingly. Today. It will be a year. You can use it directly. Zian was full of anticipation. The treasures of heaven and earth cultivated by myself. I don't know what the specific effect is. However, I believe it will never be bad. Zian is looking forward to it. In the communicator, a communication from Haitang was received. Crabapple. After graduating from Shenzhou Academy, he worked as a lecturer here. However, as a lecturer, she is a little bit unprofessional. Because I am in a good mood, I will talk about it. If you're not in a good mood, don't talk about it. Shenzhou Academy also has very few restrictions on teachers. You are willing to give lectures, no problem. How many points a class will give you? It's okay if you don't want to talk about it, you can do whatever you want. Since entering school, Zian hasn't seen Haitang yet. I was planning to visit sometime later. The main purpose, of course, is to ask Haitang to help him defend the way after his biological energy reaches full value. Go hunt pirates. Haitang is actually one of the top 10 top talents in the Earth Federation. Its strength is naturally beyond doubt. In the Shenzhou Academy, among the cruiser captains, her strength is definitely one of the best in the world. The communication is connected. Haitang's unique cold and magnetic voice came from the optical brain watch. Zian, do you have time recently? Haitang asked. Zian didn't know what she was going to do, and replied, fortunately, it's not very busy, but it's not very free either. What, do you have anything to do? There was a sound from Haitang, and said slowly, I have a student. Her starship is now a Tier 5 scout ship, and she wants to upgrade to Tier 6. She wants to find a better evolutionist to help 02 evolve her starship. Intent is an overall blue rare quality. If you go to the Evolutionist Association, the price there is too high, and she doesn't have that much money. The teachers from the evolution department in our school can do it, but if they are invited, the points will be too high. That's why I thought of you. How about it, are you interested? Zian laughed. This is to introduce business for myself. Where would you refuse? And immediately said, the overall blue is of rare quality, there is no problem. The day after tomorrow, I have something to do tomorrow, how about the day after tomorrow? Haitang knew nothing about it, and said, the day after tomorrow will be fine, then it's settled. Yeah okay, thank you. Hang up the communication. Zian couldn't help looking at the evolution factory. Sigh inwardly. How long has it been? Finally. It's about to open. No matter how many points. This time, Zian planned to evolve that person well. And the other party is Haitang's student, Zian will definitely give him a serious evolution. In addition, Zian also wants to use this to make a name for himself. In this way, I believe that many students will come to find me to evolve the starship. Of course, I can go to the Evolutionist Association to accept the evolution list. There are even a lot of orders, which can be received casually. But one is not so much time. The second is the time of evolution, so Zian is more willing to accept the school's list. Because of the school's list, although no cash will be given. But points are undoubtedly more valuable and precious. Especially after expanding the planting scale later, the demand for points will be even greater. The next day, it was still dark. Zian didn't even wash up, so he rushed to the cultivation room in a hurry. As soon as he entered, Zian's eyes lit up. Each steelbone grass is already 20 centimeters high, and it is already a piece as far as the eye can see. Every plant is green and pleasing to the eye. Look at the status again. Plant name, steelbone grass. Plant grade, first grade. Plant function, it is widely used to temper and strengthen human bones. Plant state, vigorous vitality. Plant lifespan, 1 year, in rapid growth. Really? A day adds a year. And the 1-year steelbone grass just met the consumption standard. Zian, who couldn't hold back for a long time, immediately ordered one of the drones to dig out one of the plants. Treasures like steelbone grass can only grow once. Otherwise, it can only be sown. It will not grow back like many plants that can be cut off. The unmanned aerial vehicle sent the steelbone grass dug out to the storage room of the ultra-small plant cultivation room. Zian went directly to take it out and took it home. This kind of natural treasure will not affect its effect within an hour after being dug out. Naturally, Zian would not have such worries. Back at the villa, wash it carefully with clean water. Say nothing. Put it in your mouth and eat it. Yes. This is the only way to use Tainkatibo. Of course, it refers to the kind that is used. There is also the kind of external use of natural materials and earth treasures, which must be another way. For example, the awakening liquid of heaven, material and earth treasures when awakening. That's not for taking. It was refined into a juice, then placed in a safe, and finally atomized to stimulate bioenergetic awakening. The treasures of heaven and earth can only be eaten raw like this. Not even juice. Regardless of heating or processing, it will greatly affect the effect of the special materials inside. Does it taste? Slightly sour. And a little bit bitter. Anyway, it has nothing to do with deliciousness. And at the moment of eating into the mouth, Zian used the wealth value, no impurities to speed up absorption and quenching. The wealth value consumed is also very small, only 1 point of wealth is needed. The consumption of wealth value depends on the year and grade of taking Tainkatibo. This 1-year-old. 1 wealth point is enough. The wealth value is after use. In sight. There is also a countdown. This countdown is very small, and you can't see it unless you pay attention. But if you look closely, it will be obvious. 59:59, 1 hour. That is to say, this 1-year steelbone grass can be absorbed in just 1 hour. And it is the kind of direct and strengthened absorption, not the kind of slow absorption. This is not. It was only 10 seconds or so. Zian felt the heat in his whole body's bones gradually increase. And there is a strange feeling. Zian understands. This is the steelbone grass working. Almost an hour passed like this. The skeletal abnormalities began to dissipate. Followed by, it's just a slight sense of feces in the stomach. Zian's expression was slightly strange. He understood how the impurities were discharged. He thought it was coming out from places like pores. It was shit. Alright. It's actually quite reasonable. Also very direct, the effect of Tainkatibo has been absorbed. Zian felt it. Indeed, to be able to feel such a slight increase in bone strength is indeed such a slight increase, but the increased intensity is very little. A vintage of. Just don't expect much good results. After that, Zian didn't go to harvest new steelbone grass to eat. Today, he just tried the effect and cried. After all, he has never taken Tainkatibo before, tried it today, and it really did not disappoint him. If you take it for a long time. Zian felt that his physique would undergo an earth-shaking change. But these days, definitely don't think about it. 10 wealth points have already been spent. Zian was so stupid that he went to harvest 10 years ago, that is, before the second rank. At the very least, you have to wait until the second grade, and harvest in large quantities when you need to inject wealth for the second time. This is the most cost-effective 713. As for the steelbone grass at the beginning, let it continue to grow. Zian just wanted to see if he could finally grow to the limit of the steelbone grass, that is, the third grade. Test. Century-old steelbone grass. Steelbone grass can only grow up to 100 years old, after which it will wither quickly. At least that's the case without using wealth points. I don't know whether the steelbone grass will exceed its lifespan after using the wealth value, I don't know. See you later. After confirming that there is no problem with the Tainkatibo cultivated by myself, Zian was satisfied. It's still early. Then he entered the system and continued his learning journey. Another night passed. Early in the morning, Zian came to the cultivation room first. Really? Wang Xinghua also reached the second rank, and her health began to weaken. In addition, the stargazing flower has also grown seeds, which can be used for planting. Throwing out 100 wealth points directly, Wang Xinghua regained its vitality. Zian ordered the drone to start planting the stargazing flower. Plant the remaining 11 growing areas. Extra seeds. Like the seeds of steelbone grass, store them in the fresh-keeping box first. I'll talk about it later. The first steelbone grass, as expected, still grows at the rate of a year every day. It's been 12 years now. At the same time, the seeds of Wang Xinghua were injected with 10 wealth points. After confirming that there is no problem with its vigorous vitality, only then did Zian leave contentedly. Driving the Audi Star Shuttle. Fly to the Haitang living area, Begonia's residence. It is on an iceberg at the North Pole of the lodging star. A sky blue building is built on a thick layer of ice, and in front of the building is the bitterly cold water of the Arctic. Here, it is difficult for ordinary people to survive. But for biological fighters, it's okay even if they don't wear space armor, not to mention wearing space armor, they can't feel the cold at all. When Zian drove the star shuttle over, there were 2 starships, one large and one small, parked on the landing pad next to the building. The big one, of course, is Haitang's Kraken cruiser. The small one is a relatively small starship. About 50 meters. It was only a small circle bigger than the brilliant ship he had at the beginning. Not surprisingly. It seems that this starship is what he needs to evolve. Because it was a star shuttle. Directly drove the star shuttle to the entrance of the building. This is the convenience of star shuttle. It is indeed quite convenient. You're here. As soon as Zian walked in, Haitang's cold magnetic voice came over. Looking up, Haitang is sitting on the spacious sofa, looking at something with the optical brain watch. Everyone's optical brain watch, although it is a virtual projection. But only you can see its content. Unless you actively share content, others cannot see it. On the other side of the sofa, a petite girl was sitting upright. The girl looks a bit like Ziajiabiyu, and her appearance is probably above average. Zian nodded and sat down casually. Well, is this classmate going to evolve a starship? Seeing Zian coming here, the girl sat down so casually, with a dazed expression on her face. Haitang seemed to be unaware, nodded and said, well, she is also a freshman of this year, from our research department, named Nana. Zian suddenly looked a little weird. Our research department, are you also a research department? Haitang replied casually, when I was studying, I studied Star Wars. Now that I am a lecturer, I happen to be very interested in researching the treasures of heaven and earth. There are many teachers in the Star Wars department and few teachers in the research department. Is it strange that I become a teacher in the research department? Zian was speechless, but he didn't bother to care about it. She raised her head and asked, Lunana, tell me how much evolution you have. Zian has always been a person who doesn't like to talk nonsense. Lunana quickly replied, I now have a total of 286 evolutionary points. The evolution value of each person will be displayed in detail by the light brain of the starship. Even the biological energy of each person can be detected by special instruments. It is now digitized. 286.1. Zian thought for a while and said, then what is the overall quality of your starship now? Lunana's expression was slightly embarrassed. The overall quality is green and excellent. I just want to be able to evolve the starship to the overall blue rare, and the group will gather so much evolution value. Zian laughed. Blue rarity is definitely not a problem. After a pause, he didn't say much. Okay, leave it to me, and I'll take care of it in 3 days at most. Lunana immediately nodded happily, then hesitated, and said, Student Zian, your charging standard is just 100 points. Zian thought for a while and said, 100 points is already not low. Exchange from the school is equivalent to 1 million. And if you really talk about the purchase value, it won't be less than 3 million. It was my first business in school again, and it was introduced by Haitang. Give her a little cheaper, and it will be an instant hit. In this way, I will have a steady stream of classmates coming to me in the future to find myself to evolve. Fast. Thinking about it, it will definitely not be missing. Unexpectedly, when Zian awarded this point, Lunana hesitated a little. Haitang at the side suddenly said, Nana, listen to him, 100 points, you don't lose. Seeing Lunana's expression and hearing Haitang's words, Zian immediately understood the reason. This Lunana, I am afraid that it is really prepared according to the overall blue rarity. If the standard evolution blue is really rare, in fact, it does not need 100 points. B. Zian wants to be a hit, how can she really give her a whole blue rare? So he smiled and said, you may have misunderstood. How about you, you have 286 evolution points. This evolutionary value is in my hands. It's no problem for you to evolve to the overall red excellent quality. So, I charge according to the charging standard of red excellent quality. Of course, if you don't need the excellent quality of red, but only the rare overall quality of blue, that's fine. Market price, 50 points will be fine. Lunana's expression was stunned upon hearing Zian's words. Red, the excellent overall quality of red? She couldn't believe her ears. Zian said with a smile, well, it's up to you to choose. Choose? Even fools know how to choose. Lunana didn't hesitate at all, and nodded crazily with an expression of surprise. While nodding, he said, okay. Then, the excellent quality of red. I have a total of 126 points, and I am willing to give them all to you. Excellent quality in red. Red excellence, and blue rarity. Don't look at it, it's only one level lower. But red excellence is much better than blue rarity. The price of evolution is also very different. At normal market prices, even if you get 200 points for a run, it's definitely not expensive. Zian waved his hand, just 100. Follow me to Bright Island later. I'll try to get it done for you within 3 days at the latest. By the way, do you still have money? You need to prepare at least 2 million. Lunana nodded repeatedly, yes. I still have 2 million. Zian shrugged, that's no problem. Haitang, who didn't know what he was busy with, saw that the two of them had finished talking. He immediately waved his hand and said, now that you've finished talking, then go about your business. Zian came to Haitang this time, how could he leave like this? He smiled and asked, hi, well, have you been busy recently? Do not know why. Asked Zian to call teacher Haitang, he always felt that he couldn't say it out loud. Haitang didn't care, and said doubtfully, I'm doing fine recently, mainly studying some heavenly materials and earthly treasures. What, are you okay? Zian nodded and said, nothing has happened these past few days. But in at least half a month, I would like to ask you to be my cruiser protector. I want to go out and hunt pirates. Haitong's face was suddenly filled with astonishment. Your biological energy is almost at full value again? Don't blame her for this. When I came here with Zian is only at the 5th level. Evolved to level 6 halfway through. A few days after returning to school, I fell down, and bioenergy is almost full again? Are he one of the top 10 geniuses of the Earth Federation, or is he Zian? Why does it feel like I am practicing faster than I did back then? Zian naturally will not explain in detail. Hashtag. This world allows cultivation geniuses. My own cultivation speed is fast. But it is never beyond the scope of common sense understanding. He immediately nodded calmly and said, yes. I feel like it's almost done. In another half month at most, it should be fully worth it. Haitong was speechless and didn't bother to ask any more questions. Zian's training speed shocked her, but it was actually far less than his Star Wars talent and evolutionist talent. So he didn't ask any more questions and said, in half a month, I should be fine. When the time comes, you can apply to use it and secretly appoint me to be your protector. Zian laughed, okay. Then it will be hard on you then. I'll listen to you later and have a feast. Haitong threw Zian a beautiful and cold eye roll angrily. He also invited me back for a big meal. They are on their way to China Academy. She even paid for a drink, so why treat her to a meal? Aside. Nana's eyes were getting weirder and weirder. His eyes kept going back and forth between Zian and teacher Haitong, do not know why. She always felt that the relationship between the two seemed weird. But what's so weird about it, I can't tell. Zian never called Haitong teacher. Haitong never regarded Zian as a student. Zie. Teacher Haitong's attitude in front of Zian is completely different from his usual attitude towards these students. I always feel. No, you can't have random thoughts. The two of them. How can that be possible? I must be overthinking it. Nana quickly put an end to the crazy idea in her mind. Splendid galaxy. In a dense group of meteorites. Accompanied by the last explosion. A frigate exploded like fireworks. The other side. There are dozens of different starships. But these starships, without exception. You can see its original expensive foundation. For example, future stars, shining stars, etc. in the communicator. After the battle was over, noisy chattering sounded one after another. Phew, it's finally over. Who says it's not? These interstellar pirates have been tracking them for a whole month and a half. It's really good at running. Of course the interstellar pirates can run away, but they can't run away. They have been wiped out long ago, so it's our turn. That's right, by the way, Tujiu, this time should be your number one, right? That's for sure. In the end this starship was killed by Deep Lips. Not necessarily, Yu Xiao and Hu Chichi killed a lot just now. Hey, maybe this time, they have gathered enough evolution points to evolve to the 9th level of scout ships, and we are still hovering at the 8th level. Speechless, I'm only at the 7th rank. I heard that there are already several 7th rank scout ships among our freshmen in the same class. That's right, I've heard that too, especially Zian, who is number 1 in the freshman rankings on the Academy forum, and it's said that he's the number 1 student in the country this time. The communicator was buzzing. But no matter how messy. The three names Tujiu, U-273, Xiao, and Hu Chichi always appear from time to time. It is enough to see that the prestige of the three of them among this group of people should be very high. And talking, so we talked about Zian. In fact, they just know, but not deeply. Because after the special entrance examination, they have been following the dean of the Star Wars department, who is also the vice principal of the school, a captain of a deep space ship, to hone and experience outside. Yes. Them. It's the group of special recruits from Shenzhou Academy. Since the special admission exam, he has not been back to school. After gathering in a certain area, then began a 6-month special training. Now, it's been 5 months. In another month, I will be able to go back to school. Although they haven't been to Shenzhou Academy yet. However, the vice principal has already brought them the treatment they deserve. At the same time, they also gave themselves a name. Flying Dragon Pavilion. It has the meaning of the Dragon of China, soaring into the sky. They all call themselves members of Phylong Pavilion. It is deliberately used to distinguish it from the ordinary students of the Shenzhou Academy, to show their different identities, different strengths and potentials. Zian? I know him. I heard that he has been hailed by the media as an unprecedented national champion, right? Yes, it's him. But one thing to say, his talent is indeed quite terrifying. We people are almost all biological energy awakened between the ages of 12 and 15. After several years of hard work, it is now above the 7th rank. But I read in the forum that this Zian was awakened during the Unified Awakening, and now, it is also a Tier 7 scout ship. When you say it like that, it really makes a lot of sense. Haha, then when I go back, I'll give him a try. Forget it, he is indeed number 1 among the ordinary freshmen of the same class, but which one of us here can't beat him to the ground? Let's stop bullying people. Our opponents have always been special recruits from another Chiu University. That's right, those of us who have been fighting for half a year, don't go to the academy to bully these little tenders, and take a long-term view. 2. A group of special recruits chatted. At this time, 3 of the starships did not participate in the conversation between them. Instead, the 3 of them opened a private communication channel to chat. However, they can also hear what other people say. When I heard them say the name Zian, all 3 raised their brows slightly. One of the tall and thin young men said indifferently, "This Zian seems to be quite famous now. I know him. But to be honest, if it wasn't for the time when he was too reckless, he was attacked by a traitor from the human race. I'm afraid he's one of us now. It will even become our strong enemy. But now, the second binding, after all, is a bit worse." Another tall and thick man answered, "I also know him, his talent is indeed quite powerful. 5 months ago, his starship was blown up. 5 months later, the starship he bound for the second time not only became the 7th tier scout ship, but also became the first among new students. It's enough to show the horror of his talent. I can only say that fate has played a trick on me." A woman's soft and charming voice suddenly said, "This person. It's really interesting. After a month, I want to go back and see Aki, to see what kind of person he is. Challenge him. As long as he can last 10 rounds in my hands, he is worthy of being my friend, Chi. If you can't hold on for 10 rounds. Haha, then you are just a mediocre person, don't worry about it." What Chi said. The other 2 people couldn't help but nodded in agreement. Actually, in Phylong Pavilion, there are also levels and circles. Such as the 3 of them. It has always been believed that only the 3 of them can be called real competitors. The rest of the people, at most, it's just a bonus. 1 month left. Then let's see who reaches the 9th level first. When we go back, let's see who can truly win the first place in this temple. Be the one who suppresses a whole grade. The tall and thick man laughed wildly and dropped these words, speeding away in his heavy starship. Zian didn't realize that he had become a talking point. I am currently working on my first evolutionary starship business. Since it is the first business, you have to do the best you can under the circumstances. Use that 289 evolution value to its fullest effect. About 3 hours later, the complete set of evolutionary plans is released. He handed all the metals and materials needed in the plan to Lunana and asked her to purchase them. At the same time, Zian is also on the school's task website. He took the list of evolvers assigned to him by Lunana. The reward is 100 points. The school's tasks also require full supervision. Zian is also on the school's task website. He took the list of evolvers assigned to him by Lunana. The reward is 100 points. The school's tasks also require full supervision. Boss, I see you are from the home planet. I ordered you this spicy hot pot with panda meat. Do you like it? Boss, this Tyrannosaurus Rex kebab tastes so good, do you want me to feed it to you? Wow. This main gun is really powerful. So this is the Red Excellence product, it's so powerful. On the Shining Island. In Zian's ears, Lunana kept shouting, Big brother, big brother. The front of the saddle and the back of the horse are called thoughtful service. But it's understandable, when Lunana saw that her originally white ordinary parts had evolved into blue and rare ones. Most of the green sophisticated parts have also evolved into blue rare ones. A small number of green and sophisticated parts. For example, important parts such as main guns and engines have directly evolved to red excellent quality. Don't ask her to do anything. Even if she was asked to follow Zian and call him daddy every day, she would be willing to do so. Finally, on the third day, Lunana's starship has completed the evolution from the 5th to the 6th level. The quality is also excellent from the overall green perspective. Suddenly jumped to red rare. Yes. Overall quality, red rare. In fact, when only a small part of the main parts are red rare, the overall quality cannot reach the red rare quality. But Zian became famous for this time. He deliberately kept some of Lunana's evolution values. Evolved some insignificant parts to red superior quality. Then, the overall quality of this starship has become red excellence. When you see that the overall quality of your starship is red and excellent, the shock in Lunana's heart is understandable. She originally thought Zian just gave himself a few major parts to evolve into red superior quality. The overall quality of the starship should still be blue and rare. Now it seems much exceeded my expectations. Although she also understands the outstanding red quality of my own starship is probably the most embarrassing. If a starship with the same overall quality of red and excellent comes randomly, she will definitely be beaten violently if the strength of both parties is equal. After all, the origin of this overall red excellent quality is that most of the unimportant parts have evolved to this quality, which has suddenly brought the overall quality to this level. But regardless of the excellent quality of red, it is definitely more rare than blue. Boss, thank you so much. I really don't know how to thank you. How about I accept you as my father? Lunana was so excited that she couldn't help herself. Her greatest wish. Just being able to evolve the starship to blue and rare is already the greatest satisfaction. After all, the evolution value is not enough. The most critical evolver who can evolve the reconnaissance ship to red excellent quality, which one is not a 3rd grade or even 4th grade boss? How can she afford it? When she can afford it, maybe her starship will need a more powerful evolution master. If this cycle continues, I am afraid that it will be impossible to touch the excellent quality of red in this life. Now, dream come true. My admiration and gratitude to Zian cannot be expressed in words. And this is also the reason why Zian was accepted as a disciple by Mr. Xia. This is also the difference between a true evolutionist genius and an ordinary evolutionist. Zian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can do it. If you really want to thank me, just go and promote me more. In addition, if you want to evolve with me in the future, you must prepare more evolution values and points. If you can have more evolution points this time, for example, for 100, I can evolve 80% of your starships to red excellent quality. If you get points, I can give you a discount this time. Next time, no one with $200 or $300 will come to me. Lunana nodded wildly, yeah. Zian waved his hand, okay, go and do your work. Evolving you has delayed me for 3 days, and I have to busy myself with my own business. Lunana said quickly, big brother, you are busy. I'm leaving now. If you need anything, boss, feel free to call me. I'll be here at your call. It's okay even if I warm your bed. Zian laughed and scolded, you have a beautiful idea. This Lunana can only be said to be pretty good-looking, a little better than ordinary people, but she is definitely not Zian's cup of tea. Lunana smiled and drove her starship away from Brilliant Island with joy. In fact, starship evolves. It is indeed a troublesome thing. This time Lunana's starship evolution was not so cumbersome and only took 3 days. A slightly better starship evolution might start in 5 days. It delays your own cultivation too much. From now on, evolution will be evolution. In order to earn points, people must evolve. But Zian thought about it. From now on, people will only be able to evolve a starship once every month. The rest of the time, he still had to practice. Lunana leaves. Zian immediately went to the breeding room. In the breeding room, the first star flower and steel grass are still growing at a rate of 1 day and 1 year. It has been more than 10 years now. The ones that were sown have been several years old. A few more days. Now it's time for the first wave of harvest. Some days after that, Zian was completely immersed in his own world again. Middle. There were 3 or 4 waves of people who challenged me in the name of the freshman list, but there is no one who challenges themselves with their own treatment. And those 3 or 4 people were all easily defeated by him. This completely established Zian's reputation as the #1 freshman. This time, it is almost the undisputed third. Besides, in the past few days, another incident has caused Zian's reputation to reach its peak based on its original foundation. That is, Zian showed off his terrifying talent as an evolution master. Can you believe it? A new student in the research department named Lunana was actually under the pressure of so many Star Wars geniuses. 0, please ask for flowers, 0. Did he suddenly reach 9th place on the freshman list? The key point is that Lunana did not show particularly outstanding Star Wars strength. It was entirely by virtue of her starship's comprehensive attributes that she rushed to 9th place. It wasn't until he challenged for 8th place that he was defeated by an opponent with the same excellent overall red quality. Although most people don't know Lunana, but there are still some people in the research department who know her. When Lunana's 5th-tier starship was revealed, it was still only green and of high quality. Now at the 6th level, it suddenly turned into an overall red excellence. Moreover, when she went to find Zian to help her evolve with a very low evolution value, I don't know how many people's jaws dropped. And until this moment, everyone suddenly remembered Zian's other identity. A first-grade evolutionist from the Evolutionary Association, and it's the kind that was officially awarded 10 stars by the Evolutionary Association. What are 10 stars? 10 stars means the most potential, the quality of evolution is very high, the success rate of evolution is 100%, and there has never been a mistake. 0. When Zian evolved the starship to Lunana. The whole process was filmed and uploaded to the intelligent optical brain of the Evolutionist Association. The Evolutionist Association, although there are a large number of tasks, but the Evolutionist Association does not prevent others from taking orders privately. If something goes wrong when you take an order privately, the Evolution Association will just ignore it. Zian's kind also belongs to taking orders privately. If something goes wrong, the Evolutionist Association does not guarantee it. However, the evolutionary process is still counted as a proportion of Zian's personal score. Zian's current information in the Evolutionist Association is Zian, first-grade evolution master. Star rating, 10 stars, focusing on recommending potential evolvers. Results, blue rare quality evolution *1, red excellent quality evolution *1. Failure, no failure record, current evolution success rate is 100%. This is Zian's current information in the Evolutionist Association. But only the results for evolving starships for others will be calculated. The evolution of your own starship will not be included in the association and will be counted as a result. In addition, evolving parts does not count as an achievement. The achievements collected by the association are only for the evolution of other people's entire ships. When some people took a screenshot of Zian's information on the Evolutionary Association and sent it to the school forum. Suddenly, countless people were moved, they just knew. Their Chinese academy. This is truly a super genius in evolution. With him. Finally, I no longer have to go to the Evolver Association to ask someone to evolve. The most important thing is, can evolve to higher quality. There is no need to pay the fees for 3rd and 4th grade evolution masters. What a deal. For a while. Countless students who need to evolve. They came looking for him one after another. Points waived. I just hope Zian can evolve him. For real. An instant hit and, thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.